In 1960s, the Britain was shaking off post-war austerity. A new energy pulsed through its cities. London swung, music changed, fashion exploded, but beneath the vibrant surface, old systems of power and wealth endured. One such system, the Royal Mail. Its trains were the nation's iron arteries, carrying more than just letters. Vast sums of money moved silently through the night. These trains, symbols of British reliability, ran like clockwork night after night. Their unassuming carriages held fortunes, used banknotes for destruction, new notes for circulation. The sheer volume of cash was staggering, a river of money flowing unseen, protected by routine, guarded by an assumption of invincibility. Who would dare challenge such a system? It seemed unthinkable. The travelling post offices or TPOs were marvels of efficiency, mail sorted on the move by dedicated staff. Security seemed robust. Locked doors, steel-sided carriages. The idea of a major robbery on a moving train felt like something from a bygone era. Yet the 60s were a time of change and daring. Old certainties were being questioned. For some, the allure of easy money was irresistible. The criminal underworld was evolving, more ambitious, more organized. The Royal Mail trains, despite their strength, became a tempting target, a challenge waiting to be met. The stage was set for an event that would shock the nation, a crime that would become legend. The Great Train Robbery was about to be written into history. The question was, who would dare to write it, and how far would they go? The gang was a mix of personalities, united by greed and ambition. For some, it was about the money. For others, like Reynolds, it was about the challenge. They believed they were smarter, bolder than anyone else, ready to gamble everything for a shot at criminal immortality. The plan was set in motion. The stakes were higher than ever. This was their moment, and they intended to seize it.
I just wanted my piece of the pie, the chance to be part of something big.
Charlie Wilson, the silent treasurer, kept the finances straight. Ronnie Biggs, brought in for his supposed train knowledge, was more opportunist than mastermind.
I was tired of scraping by. I wanted a big score, something that would change everything.
His gang was a collection of seasoned professionals. Gordon Goody, tough and resourceful. Buster Edwards, an ex-boxer hungry for a big score.
I wanted to do something that would be remembered.
Enter Bruce Reynolds, no ordinary criminal, suave, intelligent, meticulous. Reynolds craved not just money, but the thrill and notoriety of the perfect crime. He was a planner, a man who wanted to make history. The Ulsterman's tip was electrifying details of a Royal Mail train carrying an unusually large consignment of cash, millions in old, untraceable banknotes. The information was precise: date, route, value, a golden opportunity dropped into their laps. Reynolds cross-checked the details. The tip looked genuine. The scale was breathtaking, a score that could set them up for life. The Ulsterman's motives remain unclear: revenge, greed, or something deeper. But his information lit a fire under Reynolds. The dream of the perfect crime suddenly had a real target. The planning began.
There's a train coming through soon. It'll be carrying millions. If you want it, here's what you need to know.
The seed of the Great Train Robbery was sown by a whisper, a tip from a mysterious source known only as the Ulsterman. His true identity remains a mystery. Some say disgruntled postal worker, others a high-level informant. Reynolds believed he had thought of everything. The tension built as the chosen date approached. Every detail mattered. The plan was intricate, a complex dance of criminal intent. The gang was ready. The countdown had begun. The perfect crime was within reach. But perfection is a dangerous illusion, and the smallest mistake could be fatal.
We went over everything again and again. It was like rehearsing for a play, only the stakes were sky high.
The gang stocked the farm with supplies and used intermediaries to buy it. They embraced new technology. Walkie-talkies for communication during the robbery. Vehicles were acquired, false plates prepared, every angle covered. Reconnaissance missions scouted the railway line and timed police patrols. Roles were assigned. Who would tamper with signals? Who would board the train? Who would move the cash?
Leatherslade Farm was just what we needed. Out of the way, but not too far.
The team studied train schedules, railway procedures, and tactics. They needed a secure hideout. Leatherslade Farm, an isolated farmhouse near Oakley, Buckinghamshire, became their base.
We had to get everything right: timing, people, equipment. No room for mistakes.
With the Ulsterman's tip, Reynolds began meticulous planning, a military-style operation. The rigged signal glowed red. The driver, Jack Mills, saw the warning and applied the brakes. The massive train screeched to a halt, precisely where the gang wanted it. The trap was sprung. The first phase was complete. The gang moved in. The heist was underway. There was no turning back. The perfect crime was in motion. and the world would soon know their names. The legend was born. But legends come at a price, and the cost was about to be paid.
Then they heard it, the locomotive, growing louder, closer.
Years of planning, weeks of preparation. It all came down to these moments.
The traveling post office, the up special, carrying its precious cargo.
Every sound was amplified in the darkness. We waited for the train.
As the night of August 7th, 1963, deepened, the gang took their positions.
It was a carefully rehearsed maneuver designed to mimic an official stop.
One gang member, an expert in railway systems, rigged the signal to show red.
Their method for stopping the train was ingenious, changing the railway signals from green to red.
This was where our audacious plan would unfold or unravel.
We knew this spot well. The darkness and isolation were our allies.
The chosen location was a secluded stretch of track, Bridego Bridge near Sears Crossing.
Equivalent to over 50 million pounds today. The gang had pulled off the impossible. But the clock was ticking. The escape had to be flawless. Every second counted. The pressure was immense. The perfect crime was almost complete. But perfection is always an illusion, and fate was about to intervene. The next move would decide everything. The getaway began, and the legend grew.
Despite the hiccup, we secured the vast majority of the loot, an estimated £2.6 million.
Not everything went perfectly. Our stand-in driver couldn't operate the locomotive, so we had to use the injured mills. It cost us precious time.
Teamwork was precise. Each man knew his job. The bags piled up, ready for the lorry.
At the bridge, the gang swarmed the carriage, forming a human chain to unload 120 mail bags stuffed with used banknotes. The physical effort was enormous, a race against time.
Jack Mills was injured, but forced to drive the engine and high-value carriage to Bridego Bridge. I left my cab to investigate and was met by masked men. I put up a struggle and was struck over the head.
We quickly separated it from the rest of the train. The other staff were left behind, unaware.
Our first task, uncouple the high-value carriage, the one with the cash.
With the train stopped, the gang moved with chilling efficiency.
These overlooked traces would prove their undoing. As they celebrated, they were leaving a trail that would lead the police directly to them. The perfect crime was already starting to unravel. The clock was ticking. The net was closing. The celebration was short-lived. The consequences would be lasting. The legend was about to become a cautionary tale, and the chase was on. The robbers' luck was running out. The law was closing in.
Some say I was careless, others blame the chaos.
The plan was to lay low at the farm for several days, then disperse. Reynolds gave strict instructions: wipe the farmhouse clean, erase every trace. Forensic science was advancing. Fingerprints could be damning. The gang was supposed to wear gloves at all times, but in the excitement or through carelessness, this was not fully followed. A critical oversight: fingerprints left behind on a ketchup bottle, the Monopoly set, and other items.
Inside, the mood was euphoric. We piled the mail bags, counted the money, celebrated. Stories abound of Monopoly with real banknotes, beer and food. For a brief moment, we were kings.
The journey was tense, but we reached the farm undetected.
With the lorry loaded, we made our escape, navigating dark country lanes to Leatherslade Farm.
The Great Train Robbery stunned Britain. Its audacity and scale dominated headlines. A massive police manhunt began, but the gang seemed to vanish. Then a tip-off. A local herdsman reported suspicious activity at Leatherslade Farm. Police investigated. On August 13th, 5 days after the robbery, they entered the deserted farmhouse. Inside, they found a scene of hasty abandonment and a treasure trove of evidence. The gang had left, but not without a trace. The farmhouse was littered with clues: empty food containers, sleeping bags, tools, and, crucially, the mail bags. Many were empty, but clearly post office property. The police knew instantly this was the robbers' hideout. Forensic teams scoured every inch. The breakthrough fingerprints, dozens of them, lifted from various surfaces, from the ketchup bottle, Monopoly game, beer cans. These prints were a direct link to the gang. The police now had tangible evidence. Names could be put to the shadowy figures. The perfect crime was unraveling. The net was tightening. The robber's anonymity was shattered. The legend was now a police triumph. The chase intensified. The endgame had begun. Justice was closing in. What would happen next? Who would be caught? Would any evade justice? And what about Bruce Reynolds? The discovery at Leatherslade Farm was a turning point, but not the end. The chase was just beginning. More twists, more turns, more intrigue awaited. The legend of the Great Train Robbery was still being written. Part 2 will delve into the manhunt, the trials, the escapes, and the enduring myths. The story was far from over.
For those still at large, the pressure was intense. The fortune became a burden dangerous to keep, difficult to spend. The camaraderie dissolved, replaced by fear and paranoia. Every knock, every unfamiliar face could be the police. Dreams of luxury turned to nightmares.
The media lapped it up. Every development was front-page news. Wanted posters appeared. The suspects' faces became instantly recognizable.
The robbers became anti-heroes, working-class lads who outsmarted the establishment.
The Great Train Robbery became more than a crime story. It captivated the public imagination.
The discovery at Leatherslade Farm transformed the investigation. Fingerprints rushed to Scotland Yard. Names began to emerge. The cloak of anonymity was torn away. The hunt was on. Tune in for part 2.